Hi friends, it's Suzanne here with another Christmas Crush video. For today's card, I'm featuring the Flurry of Wishes stamp set. I have used my embossing buddy to prep my watercolor paper, and I am stamping in Versamark ink, which is a clear ink, on white watercolor paper so you can't see much, so I'm going to breeze through this part. I am stamping these snowflakes sort of towards the top and to the bottom, and now I'm using white embossing powder over the top. So before I heat set that, I'm going to stamp the one of each of the snowflakes onto this vellum paper and use the same white embossing powder. Now I'm going to heat everything together, and that will create less time. So when you're embossing, you can do that as long as you don't wait too long. So I like to heat my vellum from the bottom, and I am trying to heat cardstock from the bottom, but when it comes to watercolor paper, I usually go from the top because it's quite thick. So I've taken this watercolor paper and I have taped it to a board, and now I am spraying water on it. It is soaked, so that's the reason why I taped it down. And that is frog tape, by the way, if you were interested. So I used Sugar Plum and Island Indigo for my inks today, and you're probably gonna say this looks like a hot mess, Sue, and it's true. It does not look good until it's done. So don't give up if you're gonna try a technique like this and I'm just dropping in the color and you're like, ugh. Don't give up. So I am sopping up the edges because I don't want, you know, a mess on my workstation. But you can see the reason why I taped it to the board is so I can lift the board up and then I can, you know, move that ink around. I loved this card. I love the colors. I loved the outcome. So I definitely wanted a lighter spot in the center where the sentiment's going to go, but aside from that, this was not really planned. So spraying some water on, then I'm sopping up around the edges just so it's not too much of a mess. And look at that streaking. Can you see that? That's what I loved. Love that. So adding a little bit more water with my little spritzer just to make sure that everything's sort of equally saturated. And by this point, it's really saturated, like the watercolor paper is sort of bowing. So I let that dry naturally. And here's my smoky slate cardstock. And I am using Tombow to adhere this piece of watercolor paper to a piece of thick Whisper White. And I just did that because I just wanted to make sure that it was nice and straight and it wasn't going to have any kind of bowing or warping. And so I fussy cut some of those previously stamped snowflakes. Here I am with my Misty, and I have done the sentiment with the Misty, and the reason being is because watercolor paper is a little bit bumpy, and after all that time I took to make that watercolor piece a feature, I do not want to screw up. And you know me, I probably would have to screw up. So now I'm putting everything on some fun foam, using my fast fuse to adhere everything down. It came out really flat, like taping it to the board is the thing to do. So I have adhered my vellum snowflakes with glue dots and tiny bits of dimensionals, and I had one left over, so I stuck it on the inside. And now I am using my Wink of Stella over top of all of the snowflakes. I could have put rhinestones, but I just loved the way it came out nice and simple. So that's my card for today. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Hey, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. On screen are 2 more videos for inspiration. Click on the maple leaf to visit my website, or click on me to subscribe to my channel. Thanks again for watching.